Welcome back my YouTube channel Old Coins E Collection. I'm so excited to have you here today because we're about to dive deep into one of the most remarkable and valuable coins in the history of American numismatics, the 1910 Lincoln Wheat penny. Now, this penny may not look like much at first glance, but believe me, this little piece of history could be worth a whopping $2 million. Stick around as we explore how this coin earned its status and what makes it so incredibly valuable. First, let's take a close look at this iconic coin. The Lincoln Wheat penny was first minted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It quickly became a staple in American currency, produced for over 50 years. But what makes the 1910 Lincoln Wheat penny so special? Here's the thing. Most of the 1910 pennies that were produced are relatively common and can be found at a very affordable price. However, there are some rare varieties of the 1910 penny that can push its value into the stratosphere. Let's break it down. The 1910 Lincoln Wheat penny features two primary sides that are essential in determining its value. The obverse shows a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. The reverse features two stalks of wheat on either side of the inscription 1 cent, hence the name Wheat penny. Now, you might be asking, if these are so common, what's the catch? Well, the catch is in the condition and specific features of the coin, which I'll explain in a moment. The most valuable 1910 Lincoln Wheat pennies are those that were minted with specific characteristics that make them stand out. For example, there's a rare variety of the 1910 penny known as the 1910s, which was minted in San Francisco. These coins were produced in limited numbers, making them significantly rarer than their Philadelphia counterparts. In fact, certain high-grade examples of the 1910s penny have been known to fetch well over $2 million in auction. Looking at these two side by side, you can tell that the 1910s penny has a slightly different look. The S mint mark is located on the reverse, just below the word 1 cent. Now, let's talk about how you can examine your own pennies to figure out if you might have a hidden gem. If you're holding a 1910 Lincoln Wheat penny, you want to closely examine the mint mark and overall condition. The mint mark tells you where the penny was struck. If you see an S below the wheat stalks, then you've got the 1910s variety, which could be worth a lot more than a regular 1910 penny. But even more important is the condition of the coin. The grade of the coin, from poor to mint state, plays a huge role in determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin with a grade of 60 or higher is considered mint state. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. For example, a 1910s penny in mint state could be worth several $1 million, while one in lower grades may only be worth a couple $100. But here's where things get even more interesting. In rare cases, 1910s pennies with exceptional quality and historical significance have sold for astronomical amounts at auction. In 2018. Rare 1910s Lincoln Wheat penny in near-perfect condition sold for an eye-watering $2.5 million. And that wasn't an isolated case. These pennies continue to break records at auction houses around the world. So, what makes these coins so valuable? It's the combination of rarity, quality, and the historical connection to one of America's most beloved presidents, Abraham Lincoln. Let's talk history. In 1910, America was in the middle of significant social and political change. The country had just entered the 20th century, and the Lincoln Wheat penny was first minted just a year before. Abraham Lincoln, who had been assassinated decades earlier, remained an important symbol of unity for the country. The 1910 penny, with its portrait of Lincoln, became more than just currency. It became a symbol of strength and resilience. Now, for those of you wondering, how can I find one of these 1910 pennies in my own collection or in the wild? Let's discuss some tips and tricks for finding valuable coins. Start by checking your change. Many people are still finding rare coins in circulation, especially if they're checking their pocket change at the right time. Coin rolls are also a great place to look. Sometimes, you can find hidden treasures from decades ago. Look for coins with no wear or damage. Keep an eye out for the mint mark, especially if you spot the S on the reverse side. You'll want to have your coins professionally graded to assess their value accurately. In conclusion, the 1910 Lincoln Wheat Penny, particularly the 1910s variety, can be worth a jaw-dropping amount of money if it's in top-notch condition. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rarities, you could be holding a true treasure story top 2. The coin 1933 Lincoln Wheat Penny now, you might be thinking, wait a second, I've seen 1933 pennies before. Why is this one worth $4 million? Well, grab your magnifying glass and let's uncover the story of this incredibly rare coin that has captured the attention of collectors and investors worldwide. It's a tale filled with history, mystery, and some mind-blowing facts. First, let's take a step back in time. The year is 1933. The United States is in the midst of the Great Depression, and the economy is struggling. The country needs new money in circulation, and the U.S. Mint is working overtime to produce coins, including the famous Lincoln Wheat Penny. But what makes the 1933 penny so special? It's not because of its design. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, had been in circulation for over 20 years by then, and its design featured the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 ears of wheat on the reverse. However, in 1933, something went wrong. The U.S. Mint produced a very limited number of 1933 pennies that were not meant to be in circulation. Specifically, they were part of a batch that was accidentally released into the public before the Mint could destroy them. This brings us to the mystery. By 1933, the U.S. Mint had a strict policy of minting coins based on economic necessity, and only a certain number of pennies were intended to be produced. However, some of these pennies slipped through the cracks and entered circulation. The U.S. government realized the error, and soon after, a massive recall was issued. Most of these 1933 pennies were melted down. But the real intrigue lies in what happened to the few 1933 pennies that managed to escape destruction. One of the most remarkable aspects of these coins is their scarcity. So few are left that they become highly prized by collectors. Now, let's talk about the different varieties of the 1933 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Although the coin itself isn't inherently different in design from other years, the 1933 version stands apart due to its extreme rarity. Most 1933 pennies are incredibly difficult to find in good condition, and even the ones that are out there are highly sought after by numismatics. These pennies were primarily minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and the key to understanding their value is in their limited mintage. When we talk about the 1933 Lincoln Wheat Penny, we aren't just talking about a coin from that year. We're talking about a coin that almost didn't make it to the public, and the few that did have become some of the most valuable in the world. So, here's where things get really interesting. Why is the 1933 Lincoln Wheat Penny worth a jaw-dropping $4 million? Well, in 2021, a private auction saw one of these rare coins sell for this extraordinary amount. But why? Let's break it down. First off, scarcity. As we discussed, there are only a handful of these coins left. The surviving examples are in extremely limited quantities, making them incredibly valuable to collectors who are looking for something that no one else has. The 1933 penny's rarity is enhanced by its history. It's not just a piece of metal, it's a piece of American history. Next, condition matters. The condition of a coin dramatically affects its value. The 1933 Lincoln Wheat Penny that sold for $4 million was in exceptional condition, graded as MS 65 or higher. A higher grade coin is often a once-in-a-lifetime find, and its rarity, combined with its preservation, drives up the price. Now, you might be wondering, how can I identify a 1933 penny if I find one in my collection or out in the wild? Well, let me walk you through some key features. First, check the date on the obverse, which shows Lincoln's profile. It should be clear and sharp, though worn versions will be harder to read. Second, look at the reverse, 2 ears of wheat, making sure the details are intact, that if you think you might have a 1933 penny, don't just rely on the date. You'll want to look for unusual wear patterns, especially around the rim and the wheat stalks. And if you're lucky enough to find one in great shape, it's time to get it evaluated by a professional numismatist. Now that we know why the 1933 Lincoln Wheat Penny is worth millions, let's talk about the market and investing in rare coins. The value of these coins has skyrocketed in recent years, making them highly sought after by both seasoned collectors and investors. Coin collectors and investors alike are always on the lookout for undervalued coins that might appreciate in value over time. That if you're thinking about investing in rare coins like the 1933 Lincoln wheat penny, it's important to do your research. Coin values can fluctuate depending on demand, the condition of the coin, and market trends. But one thing's for sure, the rarest coins like the 1933 penny will continue to hold their value and increase over time. So, there you have it, folks. The incredible story of the 1933 Lincoln wheat penny and why it could be worth $4 million. If you've enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button and comment below if you've ever found a rare coin in your collection. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more amazing coin stories from the Old Coin Z collection family. Until next time, keep collecting and happy hunting.